Alright, let's talk about something called programmer art. Programmer art is usually a derogatory term. It's used when a programmer inserts some art and the programmer isn't necessarily an artist. Now, in many games that are independent, indie games, the programmers do the art. Sometimes they get other artists to help them, sometimes they don't. When they don't, that's often called programmer art as an insult. But I am an artist who's also a programmer. And in the early days, Apple hired mostly artists and poets and people like that to become programmers. Now this is helpful because you can have more perspectives and history behind the things you create. Now, I have been working on some art for Minetest.org. Minetest.org is trying to preserve many older worlds and mods and integrate many older and existing current mods and mod packs so that they work together better. I'm working on the Big Red model right now. The Big Red model is an example of a model that was created probably by a programmer as a measure, as what I call a stopgap. A stopgap measure is something that fills in the gaps but shouldn't be permanent. However, this model became permanent. The original sprite was better. I'm going to show you something. The older Minetest had sprites for the characters and mobs, and I'll show you an example. You can see here, this is actually the player. This is an early version of Miescons, and this is Jaja's official YouTube channel. Alright, so now let's move on. Here is the sprite for Big Red. This is the original Big Red. This probably would have been shown in-game as the actual character, even though the game is 3D. Now, here's the problem. When someone made a 3D version of this, you got this. Nobody wants to see this, okay? I don't want to see that. That's enough. Okay. Okay, I'm sure the person tried, and I'm sure that that a lot of people enjoyed the game and enjoyed the character's special abilities. The character is able to shoot a fireball of some kind, or plasma ball, and also able to attack with its claws. Alright, I don't mind the 3 fingers, that's kind of like a frog. It's a reptilian type. That's fine. But I have a problem with the stilted animation. It's just very stilted. This is idle, and its breathing is moving forward and backward. It looks like he has a back problem. Alright, I don't like it. I know that a lot of people might not care, but a lot of people do care. So, for the people who care, they're going to be probably quitting Minetest or not using that mob. Alright, so I'm fixing stuff like that. And here is an example. I'm moving on from a 2D version to their 3D version, whoever made that. That would be in the license file somewhere. Let's see. It's in Animals Mod Pack. Sapier made code and some graphics. Renault made many 2D graphics, and Xanthin did German translation. Alright. Okay, so in 1.9.14, the Big Red mesh was added. So since no author is stated here, you would have to say that it was probably Sapier who made it. So, I wanted to credit whoever made it. Now, next step is making a new skin, and I'm improving the animation. So I have comment from one person so far that the model is too detailed, or the texture is too detailed. What I've tried to do is, instead of making this, I have tried to change this to match this. And I like to preserve original intent, because even though this sprite doesn't have nostalgia for me, it might for some people, and having some kind of a long-term culture and continuity in the programming and the culture helps. So I think it helps because it provides more texture, and you can see something is more developed and interesting that way. And it doesn't alienate older users who had been interested in the older nostalgia-based stuff. So if we go over here, we got the new one. It still has the moon armor, but I've added full plate armor, or at least what you call upper body armor. I've added shading, and I've based it on the sprite. Tell me what you think. I want to know if you think that whether you think this is too detailed. I may scale this texture down, but here's the part of the animation I improved so far. Improved the plasma ball, and the plasma ball firing is from here to here, and I've also improved the what was it? Standing animation. Alright, let me know what you think.